Now I want to begin with the welcome speeches. I want to invite Ms. Çağrı Yıldırım from TÜBİTAK, the head of EU Framework Departments, to welcoming speeches.
Hello everyone. So thank you very much for being here. Actually, we are very excited because we have been aiming to organize this event more than 1 year. Unfortunately, last year, we had a very big devastation, earthquake. We had to postpone it, but thanks a lot for the European Commission for their support to organize it. And it was a good coincidence to organize this event within the MARUF. So we would like to thank Marmara Union Municipalities, Marmara Municipalities Union, for accepting this event as one of the main organization. So my name is Çağrı. I am head of EU Framework Department at TÜBİTAK. I am national coordinator of the Horizon Europe. So as you know, Turkey has been part of this program since 2002. Now we are in the 4th program, which is Horizon Europe, and our success rate in the program has been increasing tremendously. But one of the vital points of this program, cities. Actually, cities has been very successful. But in order to be more eligible and more active in the horizon, we need to understand what are the actually European targets or objectives for these cities. Cities, climate neutral cities. We know everyone hears what is climate neutral cities. On the name, when we think about it, it's easy target, but in reality, it's very difficult. The main aim of this event, give the options to cities, also public institutions or research institutions, what kind of tools are available for the attendees, not only Horizon Europe, but also other mechanisms, EPA, or also EBRD, EIB. Today you will see all the options for yourselves. So also I'd like to welcome other municipalities from Europe, which are the mission municipalities. We have actually representation from Porto, Cluj, and Israeli cities also. We have very good cities here. What we are going to ask you, please talk and please discuss and please happen to collaboration. Thank you very much for being here. So maybe should I give the word to you? Can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I want to invite Stefana Stoicheva, Program Officer, Green Development and Inclusive Group, Delegation of European Union to Turkey, for her welcoming speech.
Thank you. Günaydın, good morning, everyone. I was just told that I have 3 minutes, so I have a problem. So, if you excuse me, I will sit. And I would like to guide you through a bit what we are doing locally here in the EU delegation in Turkey on this very specific agenda regarding cities transformation. I think that you already had this morning session where there was a lot of exchanges and the way other cities do transformation actually to climate neutrality. And this is a crucial step. On mutual learning is one of the opportunities actually that gives the possibility of cities to transform, and they motivate and inspire actually other ones to do the same thing. I wanted to talk about a bit the citizens' engagement, which is also a very important part of the opportunities cities have. Also the business engagement on that path, including financial institutions, but I think I would not have that time since the limitation is now ongoing. Here I see the timer. So what we are doing here in the EU delegation to Turkey, first we have recently started our new program, which is global, and it's called EFSD+. There is a lot of opportunities there to use first de-risking and blending as an opportunity for climate-related measures. And we already had the first call with international financial institutions, which I think some of them are present here, and we have some initiatives which would be implemented also in Turkey, including issuing of green bonds. On the other side, the mainstream program that we have as a financial assistance here to Turkey, this is the so-called pre-accession program, or the so-called IPA program. And this program is actually very much oriented toward the objectives of the Green Deal, because 30% of its allocation is actually climate mainstreaming and biodiversity mainstreaming overall. And 18% of this program is allocations toward digital transformation. So these cross-cutting issues are actually covered throughout the whole program. Specifically with regard to cities and the local dimension of the pursuit to climate neutrality, we have worked on a number of projects with Turkish authorities. There are numerous initiatives, and just like a few days ago we opened a project which is called EU Partnership for Local Climate Neutrality in Turkey. This is a project which is going to be implemented in relation to some national adaptation and policies, but also development of local action plans, and it's open to municipalities. And this capacity building, let's say, would later on be transformed into direct grant funding to municipalities in Turkey for local climate action. Another initiative that we have, and it is in the pipeline, is that Turkey wants to replicate or to kind of build up on the best practices that we have established through the EU missions on adaptation and climate neutral and smart cities, which actually gathers us today, this mission. And we hope that this project will also will materialize, because it is now in adoption procedure, and we are hoping to have it adopted soon. Apart from that, I just want to mention that the sectoral coverage of our project is also very big. So we are working from decarbonization of concrete industries like the maritime or the apparel industry, to funding to non-governmental sector actually to make climate advocacy. And we also have some blending operations, so the tools and instruments which we are using are also very, very diverse, including we are supporting actually participation of Turkey in community programs like Horizon Europe. And we have here the representatives of TÜBİTAK, which are our partners in that, and we are also providing funding to them. So there are many options, and we are open to your further requests to inquire and see how we can support this process in Turkey. Thank you very much. I exceeded my time.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to continue with the video address from Rosalinda van der Waals, the Deputy Manager of the STIS Mission, Director of the Clean Planet Directorate, DGRTD, European Commission. We can start the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to address you today in the inspiring context of the Marmara Urban Forum. Istanbul is one of the 112 cities that participate in the European mission for 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030, alongside Izmir. You will hear firsthand from these two cities today, their experiences on their ambitious journey towards climate neutrality. Just last month, the mission took even deeper roots in Turkey, as we welcomed into the program two twinning cities, Eskişehir and Konya. Congratulations and welcome to the growing mission community. When launching 2 years ago a call for expression of interest to join the mission, we were overwhelmed by positive responses. We received applications from 377 cities in the European Union and countries associated to Horizon Europe, including over 20 applications from Turkish cities. I would like to first thank these cities for their interest in the mission approach and to reassure them that the door to the mission remains open. You will hear today from the Net Zero Cities Missions platform on how climate action tools, knowledge repositories, and community of urban practitioners are made available to all cities. You will have a very intensive day ahead of you where cities from across the European Union and Turkey will showcase their progress in climate action and also exchange proven solutions for tackling the hurdles encountered in this process. The European Commission has partnered with the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey and the Union of Municipalities of Turkey to bring you together today. We share a strong conviction together. Cities learn best from other cities. In the journey to climate neutrality, it's not easy. However, it is a necessary one if we want to improve the lives of all. Cleaner air, safer transportation, increased resilience to climate change and natural disasters, these are just a few examples of the massive benefits that accompany climate action. With the European Green Deal, the European Union has set into law our goals of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions with at least 55% by 2030 and reaching full climate neutrality by 2050. At international level, the Commission is co-leading the Urban Transition Mission under Mission Innovation. This mission supports cities worldwide to scale up clean energy solutions. And we know that to succeed in our ambition, cities play a crucial role to show the way of how the Green Deal ambitions can be implemented on the ground. The cities mission supports all these ambitious cities and has three unique characteristics. First, it is fully bottom-up, taking the needs of the individual cities as a starting point. Second, it fosters the development of cross-sectoral solutions, which will accelerate the transition in cities. And third, it requires the co-creation of solutions with local communities and inhabitants. Today's event is an important opportunity to learn from each other and get inspired. Let me wish you a successful and insightful event. Thank you.
Now we will continue with the keynote
Ladies
speech.
and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to address you today.
Okay. Now we will continue with the keynote speech, National Activities in Support of Urban Climate Action in Turkey. I want to welcome Fatma Tok, Stipendiar, Minister of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change.
Herkese merhabalar, herkes hoş gelmiş. Hoş geldi. Welcome everyone. İsmim Fatma Tok. Çevre, Şehircilik ve İklim Değişikliği Bakanlığı.
Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change, Department of Climate Change, Adaptation to Climate Change, and I work as an urban planner. Today, I am going to be talking about national activities that support urban climate action, and I am going to be stating our commitments and targets in this area, and I will also be talking about what we do as a department, and I will elaborate on our projects and policy documents. Our department was established in 2021, 7th of October, after we signed the Paris Agreement. The Climate Change Department was established on this date, and since then, almost 2 years now, we have been continuing our activities, and our aim is to fight climate change, and we want to create policies in line with the SDGs and define strategic actions. And we want to continue international negotiations in this area, and we want to lead the mitigation of greenhouse gases, and we want to identify policies and actions in this regard. These are our main areas of activity. And after our department was established, we had the climate conference in 2022, and as part of this meeting as part of this council. We had online workshops, and in Konya we had the actual council meeting, this conference, and we took 217 decisions, and these actually created the basis for the policies and actions we would adopt. And nationally, we are intending to reduce the impacts of climate change, and we have many activities. We have the long-term climate change strategy, which is tied to mitigation of emissions, and we have a policy document we're preparing to define our 2053 targets. So we are analyzing the current situation, and we are trying to predict the amount of emissions we currently have, and we are looking at the long-term mitigation potential. These are all some of the topics we are tackling, and we are also about to complete our action plan for mitigation of climate change. Now, after we became party to the Paris Agreement as a country, we updated our NDC in line with the 2053 net zero emission target, and there was the Conference of Parties, COP27, last year, and we announced it then, and our 21% greenhouse gas emission mitigation target was updated to 41% until 2030. Excuse me. As a part of climate change actions, it is important to mitigate emissions, but of course, we are feeling the impacts of climate change more and more. We have a lot of adverse weather events, floods, wildfires, and we see these in our cities, and they lead to loss of life and loss of property. So yes, emission reduction is very important. However, we also need to look at how we can adapt to the changes imposed by climate change. We need to focus on this as well. So we need to have local action in that sense. Our cities need to take action, and as the Department of Climate Change, we are developing national policies and projects. As part of our project with IPA, we have many components. We have the National Climate Change Adaptation Strategy and Action Plan update activity. The first one was valid until 2023. Currently, we are updating it for the 23-30 term, and we are almost finalizing it, and also to enhance local climate change strategies. We have 4 pilot metropolitan municipalities identified, and we have prepared adaptation action plans, and we have actions within these plans to improve the resilience of cities, and also the content and data generated in this area is collected in a national platform, the Climate Portal, and it is again part of the IPA2 project, and we will be launching that very soon as well. And all stakeholders working in the area of climate change, individuals, academia, students, or policymakers, so all stakeholders will be able to upload their documents into this portal, and they will be able to make them accessible for everyone. And as part of the same project, as I stated, we have the National Climate Change Adaptation Strategy and Action Plan being prepared for 2023-2030, and it is for 12 sectors. It's actually 11 sectors, but then there are the horizontal intersecting sectors, so it's 12. And we looked at the risk analysis, and with a participatory process, we identified the adaptation actions. And these actions were identified, and we also created some implementation guidelines to implement the actions that were identified. Now, I talked about the portals that aims to collect all data in this area under one roof, so the climate portal. And it is also integrated with the e-States system, and it has the GovTR extension. So all municipalities, all local governments will be able to access information, or people who find it hard to access such information will be able to utilize this platform, all stakeholders. And when we started this year as part of the IPA3 project, there we actually had local climate change action plans for 6 cities. That's the plan, and this will include adaptation and mitigation. So the local climate change action plans will be mentioned in further detail. We plan to create climate models as part of this project, and we are going to conduct risk analyses and impact assessments. These are very important, we believe, because we need to understand the amount of impact experienced by each city, so we know how to implement our actions or our interventions. So in this frame, we need to understand which cities are more vulnerable or less resilient. So that is what this program is intended for.
YİDEP olarak kısalttığımız
The abbreviation is YİDEP, the Local Climate Change Action Plan. In line with the current scenarios, in the long term, we project the potential impacts. We do risk analyses, compliance analyses, and actions in line with this. Again, this entails an inventory of greenhouse gases and the reduction of these emissions. So we call these plans YİDEP. And in these plans, our main aim is to make cities resilient towards climate change and prepare them for this. Accordingly, in the near future, we are expecting the climate law to be introduced, so the YİDEP plans will become mandatory. And by doing so, all cities will have to create awareness, and especially around the reduction of emissions. Last but not least, For climate change and adaptation or compliance on the top level to be able to take decisions, we have the Climate Change and Compliance Coordination Board. This board determines the policies, plans, strategies, and actions to combat climate change. The board operates under the Ministry of Climate Change. Up till now, all of the policy documents that I have mentioned are approved by this board. So that ends my presentation. Thank you for your patience. I wish you all a pleasant day.
Informative speech. Now I want to invite Net Zero Cities Partnership Manager Tarek El Azizi for his speech, The Mission Approach and Climate Action Tools for Cities.
Good morning, everyone. Merhaba. My name is Tarek El Azizi, just introduced right now. I am the partnership manager for Net Zero Cities, which is the platform to support the EU mission for smart cities and neutral cities. While the slides are loading, I'm going to turn on my timer.
Is it a video file or
Yes, that's it. If possible, in full screen. Yes, perfect. So just said right now, Net Zero Cities is the platform to support the EU mission for climate neutral and smart cities. So in this Horizon Europe program, the EU has launched the 100 climate neutral cities and smart cities by 2030. So the objective is to achieve that climate neutrality within those 100 cities by 2030 so that they can lead the way for other European cities to become climate neutral by 2050. This is ambitious, this is a big challenge, and therefore Net Zero Cities has been set up as a platform really to help the cities, take them by the hand, work together with them, co-design with them on that path to carbon neutrality. There is a fourfold objective, one of which is to develop an approach, so it's really thought as a methodology to support the climate neutral transformations within the cities. We want to forge a platform for cities so they can have access to services and the relevant expertise that is needed and critical to achieve the carbon neutrality. Obviously, a key element is to build capabilities and capacities within the cities, and many other initiatives already exist, such as CapaCITIES that we will hear right after, that are there to build the capacities of the cities and capabilities to drive systemic change within the cities using innovation, and in the end is to facilitate this pipeline of cities that will accelerate the transition towards climate neutrality. Oops, I'm not sure it works. Yeah, no, like this?
Let me try.
All right, there you go. Maybe the battery is down. Is it working?
I don't know. You should push ahead a little.
Okay, perfect. Oh. All right, here we go. So, about this challenge, so there is a big ambition, so therefore it's a consortium of partners that has been mandated to work on the Net Zero Cities platform. So Climate-KIC, the organization that I represent today, is coordinating the program, but together also with other sister organizations such as Eurocities, ICLEI, LGI, Dark Matter Lab. All of them have specificities and specialization and expertise, so we can work together in helping the cities the best way possible. So the Net Zero Cities platform support is at different level. So we want to be the mission platform, so we want to organize and make accessible the different kind of resources that the cities can access to find their path towards climate neutrality. We have designed also the framework of Climate City Contract. We will come to that later, but it's a tool that is multi-level in order to crystallize all the initiatives and plans that exist to drive this climate transition. and also the Net Zero Cities Pilot Cities program, which is there to work as a innovation hub for the cities to experiment on new practices. Different kind of support, just like mentioned right now. So as you can see, there are several resources. We have designed a portal, which is an online platform that cities can access in order to find the relevant resources they need in order to move forward in that transition. The Climate City contract we just mentioned. We have also designed a climate transition map, which is representing the pathway towards this systemic change that we need. There is a series of support and specialists that can help cities to think in terms of systemic innovation, finance expertise, citizen engagement, and so on. Therefore, the cluster of several partners. And we have city advisors that are key, and they're there to support the cities in their day-to-day, so to say, work towards this journey. At the moment, we have 17 city advisors, and they support together the 112 cities that are part of the EU mission. And some of the mission cities that are here today may recognize some faces, but here are some of the city advisors that we have. My colleague Deniz, who's going to be moderating the session right after, is also a city advisor, so you will be able to meet her. And what we want to do is to understand the systems. So this is really a mentality that we really try to embed into the work that we do. We want to identify the barriers that are really blocking this transition, to understand and identify the gaps between the current efforts and the level of ambition that we have. How do we bridge that gap in order to get to the climate neutrality? Every city has its own specificity, so this is why we have climate advisors that work hand in hand with the cities, so to understand their real unique challenges, and bring together also the different aspects of that transition, that is technology, finance and business models, governance and policy regulation, democracy, social innovation, citizen engagement, capacities and capabilities. So we're working together collectively, and this is how we want to help, bringing together all these pieces so we can have this systemic approach and to bring innovative and test innovative approaches within that transition and create some kind of portfolio of different solutions. A key element, this is one of the first tools I want to introduce, is the climate transition map. So the climate transition map is there to work as a systemic approach to accelerating decarbonization. The idea in there is that every city can locate themselves within that climate transition map to understand where they start and what is the next step to go right after. We want to work as experimentation, but also we want to have quick wins. So the quick wins are there to also encourage us to move forward, but we cannot claim that we have all the solutions. And again, it's a co-creation project, and we want to work hand in hand, and we will experiment and refine and evolve the strategies that we put forth during this work. Second, we have the mission portal I briefly introduced already. The mission portal is there to be an online platform. You can consult it. It's meant for mission cities, non-mission cities, pilot cities, so they can have access to different kind of resources, whether it's a knowledge hub or a contact repository, videos, templates, guidance. For instance, the Climate City contract I was mentioning, you can find different kind of templates in there, a checklist also that you can track, so to understand if you're missing anything. And this is kind of one-stop shop with all the information that we want to share to cities, non-mission cities, in order to accelerate that transition. The Climate City contract is meant and intended as to be a tool, not a goal in itself, but a tool that will help create interlink between the different components of this overall strategy. It's comprised of a commitment plan, an action plan, climate action plan, and an investment plan. Why is that? So the commitment is there to crystallize the vision and the strategy, to bring together all the different stakeholders that are necessary in order to achieve that transition. So we will have those stakeholders as signatories and endorsers of the overall project with concrete commitments. Next to that, you have the climate action plan. So we agree on a baseline of emissions. We check what is needed to achieve carbon neutrality by 2030. We create systematic solutions, a portfolio of solutions with clear timeline, KPIs and responsibilities, because we know how complicated it could be to bring together all the different actors. So in there, you will find the different elements that are crystallized. And next to that, obviously, you need to have the necessary financing solutions and fundings. So therefore, the investment plan is something that is very key also into that climate city contract. To date, it's actually the best framework we have found in order to crystallize the academic literature that's about accelerating system innovation and transition. I will finish with this. I have a minute left, approx. Which is the Net Zero Cities Pilot City Program. So basically, the Pilot City Program is intended for cities to apply to that program. In 2023, we had up to 32 million that were given through 25 grants to 53 cities. And the idea here is to test new approaches and innovation to change and systemic change. Through that, there has been different calls. The first call has already been done. Some cities have applied and got the grant. Others are now trying they're trying right now for the coming call that's going to happen in 2024. And the idea is to find different multiple levels of change, different kind of solutions that could, and we try together, that could solve some issues and some challenges. And together with that, we have launched the twinning program, which allows cities to become twins of the pilot cities, to learn from the experience, to combine their efforts. We want it to be bilateral as well, but so by having this peer-to-peer connection, we really hope they can exchange good practices and move forward together. And this is also open for non-mission cities, obviously, to learn from the pilot cities. And I'm going to finish with that. Very pleased to be here. Thank you again for the invitation. And please find us, because we're here also to make connections. So if you want to learn more about Net Zero Cities, make sure to be in touch. Thank you so much. Teşekkürler.
We thank you for that. It was the session everyone was curious about. Now we will continue with the roundtable discussion, the mission in action, pathways to urban transitions. I want to invite the moderator, Deniz Çelik Bulgurlu, as a Net Zero Cities advisor, and I want also to invite Elvin Öksüz Bayazıt from İstanbul Metropolitan Municipality, Division of Climate Change, Ercan Türkoğlu from İzmir Metropolitan Municipality, CEO of İZENERJİ, and Daniel Freitas from Portugal, Climate Neutrality of Porto.
Welcome to our guest speakers again in our roundtable discussion in the Mission in Action, Pathways to Urban Transition. So it's my pleasure to introduce our three distinguished speakers today for today's session to provide us with the insights into their efforts and pathways to urban transition. So please join me in welcoming our speakers. First, let's start with you. We have Elvin Öksüz Bayazıt from Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, Division of Climate Change. She's working on national and international projects on climate and environment in IMM, Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. She's a highly accomplished professional in the field of environmental engineering and climate science, with an experience in both in private sector and research projects. Next, we have Ercan Türkoğlu, who is the chairman of the board of directors of İZENERJİ, representing İzmir Metropolitan Municipality. He has over 20 years of management experience in both domestic and foreign companies. He has excelled in many roles, spanning technical, business development, project management, and the list goes on, and the senior management as well. So his expertise includes engineering, economics, corporate identity, productivity, and financial project development. And lastly, we have Daniel Freitas, who is currently serving as the head of carbon neutrality in Porto. Daniel is the key figure behind the Porto Climate Pact and serves as the mission coordinator for the city in EU missions 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030. He also brings a rich background in areas like environment, climate, innovation, digital transition, with an active role in teaching at the University of Porto as well. And lastly, I'm Deniz Çelik Bulgurlu, working as Climate Neutral City Advisor at EIT Climate-KIC for Net Zero Cities projects. I have a background in urban planning and architecture. Prior to my advisor role here, I worked in the local government, in academia, teaching as well, and a researcher. So I'm so pleased to have you all with me. Our collective goal, I think, of knowledge sharing is one of the fundamental goals in Net Zero Cities project, so I'm happy to have you all. So I'll kick things off at starting from Daniel. I chose you since you are our guest from Porto currently, and I want you to answer why did your city choose to join EU Cities mission for 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030? And key motivating factors that drove your decision to be here today.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. Going straight to the question. Indeed, when we saw the program, especially in the city, one of the key figures and the main factors is the strong political will regarding climate change. So indeed, the politicians of the city, not only the mayor, the vice mayor, but other city councillors, because this was an unanimous decision among different parties and different independent citizens. Indeed, there is a strong political movement regarding the climate change. So this was the first great idea to apply to the program. But we would like to, in the city, to do it even if we wouldn't be selected in the program. So that kind of commitment made us to launch our multi-stakeholder commitment that we call it our Porto Climate Pact. So the main idea was to gather all the different stakeholders in the city in order to put them working together for a climate neutrality goal by 2030, so the carbon neutrality by 2030. And if we can be selected to the EU missions program, so this could be an extra motivation, and of course, extra motivation, extra source of recognition, extra source of money, of financing, in order to accelerate the pace that we will be developing. So. This kind of I think the motivations regarding the strong political mandate are key, and the idea to increase the recognition and to be part of a network where the cities have similar challenges, similar difficulties, and everyone can learn with each other in order to achieve the goals. So.
I think that we're going to have much more information about the Porto Climate Pact afterwards as well. So I will continue with the reason why, with Mr. Ercan, why did İzmir choose to be joined to the EU 100 climate neutral cities as well? The mic isn't open.
It's a big pleasure for me to be in front of this distinguished guest to talk about İzmir's activities and the vision. And I just like to deliver you the greeting and the success wishes of our mayor, Mr. Tunçsoyer, where the answer is starting from Mr. Tunçsoyer's vision that he is actively taking part for the last 15 years in European platform for carbon emission and climate-sensitive policies. So when we heard about the call for the mission cities, İzmir was already prepared. We already had the SECAP, Sustainable Climate and Energy Action Plans. All institutions, private sector, public side, academicians, the different civil society organizations were already aware of the problem, the climate crisis, and they were by themselves guiding some visionary policies to just make some implementations. So, in fact, the mission is meaning for us to bring all these İzmir dynamics together. It was a hard process for us. For the last 2 years, we were working for how the governance model should be set up to affect all these different initiatives already started or already planned projects to come and be monitored in one center. So we already succeeded this by establishing a civil society platform. We call it the Küresel İklim Topluluğu, means global climate community, that apart from any political reservations, everybody technically and the visionary approach they put to come together and just start creating the synergy to just prepare the roadmap, jump for the, let's say, project generation, and then how to organize the finance to make it implemented, to make it possible. Again, telling you, Izmir is well motivated and well prepared for the responsibility in its mission. And we are trying to be aggressively pioneer for all initiatives. We are not only mission cities for carbon neutral and smart cities, we are also the mission city for adaptation. We are the mission city for craft cities. We are all the member of Eurocities. So it's not a separate project for us. It's a total approach for climate-sensitive projects.
So yes, this is a combination of efforts, and Izmir is quite leading in this way. I can say that definitely within the mission cities too, in 112, Izmir became one of like the exemplary ones having the KIT Izmir. For people who doesn't know, please check the site as well, Küresel İklim Topluluğu, and their amazing work. I wish to see more as well. So let's continue with Elvin.
Yes, okay. It's really nice to be here and talking this climate neutrality issue here. Türkçe devam edeyim isterseniz. İstanbul olarak biz de bu misyonun bir parçası olduğumuz için çok mutluyuz. Hali hazırda zaten iklim değişikliği ve iklim nötrlüğüne dair çalışmalarımız vardı.
Change and climate neutrality, we already had activities. We had our climate action plan and we had our 2050 target. And why did we focus on the 2030 target together with this mission? Well, this was something that motivated us. I mean, being one of the leading cities in Europe was quite motivating, and we wanted to speed up our activities and we wanted to create a synergy because we want to move forward with our stakeholders in the most effective way on this journey. We already knew this. 2030, of course, is a very ambitious target for us because Istanbul is the most highly populated city across Turkey and Europe. And of course, emissions, the need for energy resources are all very high as a result of this. And that's why we know that there's a lot to be done. And we have a lot of key stakeholders. And as part of our climate action plan, we know our priority action areas and focus areas. And together with the 2030 mission, we have turned it into a more systematic process, and we prepared commitments, just like Izmir, of course. We have a commitment document and an action plan regarding the 2030 targets, and we also have the planning for the financial tools and investments which will follow. So we are coming together with our stakeholders, and we have identified our actions and targets on sector basis, and we are moving forward step by step to realize all this as the Istanbul city. Now, of course, cities have their different priorities. I mean, we need to look at different conditions and situations of cities while making our plans, like the earthquake priority for Istanbul, for example. And we are developing our actions and strategies accordingly.
Elvin did touch a really good point because as you probably know, none of like the cities did arrive at the net zero emissions yet. So having not only like the 2050 goals, but just having much more closer makes us act faster and do not like procrastinate this, let's say. So, and by the way, let's highlight that within the 112 mission cities, the Istanbul and Izmir is the leading one with the most of the population, with close to like 16 million and I think 4.5 million. So we have the most crowded cities here as well. And the local context is really important so that the solutions may change and the challenges does change as well. But we're in it together, so we will find solutions all together since we're not alone. So I will jump into the next question that we have with Danielle, if you're okay. Could you share a bit the defining elements of your city's approach to the mission and how your city adapted the mission to its unique local context? Since Elvin did highlighted this as well, it does change according to the city. And for example, Porto is another exception as well in our mission city. So we want to hear more about how is your approach in your local context.
Okay, this continues the last conversation because the Porto Climate Pact was the engaging instrument that we launched. But at the same time, we saw and we're publishing the municipality not as the key, as the one that can do everything, but mainly the facilitator or the catalyst in order to reduce the difficulties and to create a safe space of change among different stakeholders. Indeed, our calculations told us that directly the municipality only accounts for 6% of the emissions, so it was crucial to involve the academia, the private sector, the other public institutions in order to accelerate the pace. So what we decided to do was to create a small team. It's a team that I am leading, but indeed being like the maestro of a larger orchestra, not only in the city, but with several specific stakeholders and key stakeholders of the city. What is the role? The role is to make a pivotal, the pivot among different organizations, the energy sector, the waste management sector, the water sector, the rehabilitation sector, and companies that we have among these, the bus company, the metro company. So there is different stakeholders, but we are aligned, looking to the perspective of doing things, but in a layer where our governance can touch some specific points according to the decarbonization efforts. So that was to explain what was our approach to the mission and to the mission implementation. Besides that, we already started to see very interesting results of this, because this was like the inspiration. And if the municipality and the city, that is a core stakeholder, lead by example, it is followed, and the other different stakeholders in the city would like to participate. We see, for example, Sports Club Porto that decided to implement new energy communities in their own. Several institutions, Fundação Serralves, that is a large museum that we have in Porto, but also the Science and Park Technology, they already decided to develop their climate neutrality plans, always trying to engage with the municipality. So, and we have the investments and mobility that are happening in the city, but this is the key aspect. They never forget that they are part of a common goal and a common mission, and that is I think that is the core message that I would like to tell you about our local context, of course.
Thank you so much for your insights. I have received a note that our session will be a little bit shorter than expected because we started a little bit late. So, yeah, that's why it changed. The minutes have changed. So I'm going to directly jump in with like some direct questions, but maybe how did you bring with the KIT İzmir, various stakeholders, and like how did you break working in like different silos and so on in climate neutrality goals?
Okay, so 2 years back, İzmir already announced the SECAP program, Sustainable Climate and Energy Action Plans. It was something municipality did by himself.
Is the mic open? Or?
It's open. It's open. So the SECAP was prepared directly with the experts of the municipality. But now we are talking about a much more visionary program. So the first idea was establish one methodology that will be containing all İzmir dynamics. So last 2 years we worked for this. And we financed by this global civil society organization, Küresel İklim Topluluğu, the global climate community. Now we have all İzmir dynamics taking place in the decision making and implementation for the whole program. And we defined some interest groups like women, like youth, like low-income people, because recently the energy poverty is defined by the Commission. So this is something that the regional governments should be generating solutions for this highly increased energy budgets within the family, financial budgets. So so it's all now much better. So this kind of a visionary program can only be successful with the full commitment of the city dynamics.
Exactly, yeah.
Plus, I remember and reminding you the slogan of the call, by and for the citizens, means each climate-sensitive citizen should be the part of the decision-making and implementation activities. And by the city advisors' comments, we already managed this part in İzmir. So the public, private sector, all civil society, and the citizen involvement is already managed. Now we are more going in the subsectors that the experts will be working to start to measure the carbon emission and try to define the projects that will be overcoming this arithmetics, carbon mathematics. And then we'll be again, as the steering of the project, İZENERJİ and our management will be active in trying to form the bridge with the financial institutions, with the projects, to put them on the ground.
Perfect initiation, and please do check the works that they do, please. So the countdown is making me nervous a little bit, but let's jump in with the pilot cities program that Istanbul is the part of. Can you give a brief information about that, please?
Bizler de İstanbul olarak şunu anlatıyoruz.
As Istanbul, what I can tell you is Istanbul is the only pilot city selected from Turkey. Again, this was a call as part of this mission, and this call was for an innovative strategy or implementation to have climate neutral cities for 2030, and we focused on the Green and Carbon Neutral Transition Guide Istanbul model project, and we applied with this project, and we became one of the 25 projects selected across Europe. And as I said, the cities can have different priorities. We are all aiming for 2030, but we need to take into account the dynamics of the city and the priorities. And when we look at our greenhouse gas emissions that we measure every year, we saw that the energy sector has the most share in this, and we also have a lot of building stock under risk, and urban transformation is a must for us. So we wanted to combine these two, and we wanted to have this urban transformation in a green and carbon neutral way. So we looked at how we can achieve this and how we can explain this to people, and how business and financial mechanisms can be created. And we started to prepare a guide. We started in June, and we work with Çelik, İZENERJİ, and FloraWise, our partners. So we initiated our activities around this, and it is a program that will last 2 years, and we receive some technical and financial support for this as well. And our project is followed by other cities as well, and we will work on experience exchange too. I'm trying to speak very fast because I am trying to abide by time. And of course, CCAP and GCAP are part of our plans that support our 23 targets, and we are going to be publishing our CCAP soon, and we started working on our GCAP. And the most important approach regarding this mission for us is accelerating our processes, and we want to bring more stakeholders together to actively manage this process. That's what we are working towards.
I wish that you could see like the pressure here as well with the red lights going on and off. Thank you so much for all of the speakers. We couldn't cover the last question that we had, which was like the expectations from the cities from us. So I'm not going to ask that question, but I think that sharing the knowledge that we are trying to do it here and starting our different partnerships here is really important. And so let's remember that we're not alone in this, and nobody did achieve net zero yet. So the key takeaway would be is the power of the collaboration that we have and the knowledge sharing. So we are part of a collective effort to address these challenges of climate neutrality, and by sharing our experiences like we did today, and I hope that we will continue on doing those much more in the future, we can accelerate our progress towards climate neutrality and resilient cities. Net zero cities, the pivotal component is this, really, to build these connections. And it allows us to engage in a broader network, test innovative pilots, projects like this, and refine our climate city contracts with the CCAPs that we already have, but to build it on top of that. So let's leave this session with our committed collaboration and highlight committed collaboration in here and knowledge exchange. Thank you so much for this session and listening to all of us, and thank you to our guests here.
Thank you. You make us proud somehow. Thank you.